At a small, cozy cafe, Peter sat alone at a table with a warm cup of coffee. Around them, people were smiling and laughing. Groups of friends chatted happily, sharing stories and jokes. Yet, in the midst of all this joy, Peter felt isolated. They watched as others easily made connections and engaged in lively conversations. Their hearts sank as they realized that, despite the friendly atmosphere, they were on the outside looking in. Trying to blend in, Peter fiddled with their phone, hoping it would save them from feeling out of place. The pressure of the social environment weighed heavily on Peter. They could feel the eyes of others glancing at them, some noticing their silence. This only added to Peter's discomfort, making them want to sink into their chair. It was challenging to know what to say or how to start a conversation. Each tick of the clock made them more conscious of their loneliness. Anxiety gripped their chest as they thought about how easy it looked for others. While they struggled just to smile and say hello, the sound of laughter suddenly felt deafening, only reminding Peter of their struggle. It's easy for anyone to feel this way. These moments can happen anywhere. At work, at parties, or even in everyday places like this cafe. Many people can find themselves feeling alone. Social situations often come with pressure. It can feel like everyone expects us to connect effortlessly. But the truth is that many struggle with these feelings. Peter's experience serves as a reminder that everyone has faced a similar situation at some point in their life. This connection makes social anxiety a common human experience rather than a unique problem. Moreover, Peter's feelings are something we can all understand. Many have gone to a gathering and felt like they did not belong. It is all too common to want to speak up but feel like the words are stuck. The desire to join in can clash with fear, leading to silence. As Peter sat at the cafe, it was not just about feeling alone but also about wanting to grow. They wanted to be a part of those joyful moments, to share laughs and stories just like everyone else. In this moment, the story of Peter begins. Their challenge to feel comfortable in social situations speaks to many of us. It reflects the universal desire to connect and fit in while facing the reality of feeling self-conscious and isolated. This shared experience sets the stage for Peter to explore the world of relationships and social skills. The journey ahead is not just about chatting with strangers, but about learning to connect deeply and meaningfully with others. It emphasizes that improving social skills takes courage and practice, something anyone can achieve. Through Peter's story, we can start to understand how important it is to work on these skills. The cafe may seem like just another place, but for Peter, it represents both struggle and hope. The path to better conversations and lasting connections begins here. Peter's journey will encourage readers to believe in their ability to break these barriers and relate to others. As Peter sat at the cafe, they thought about their struggles with social situations. Like many others, Peter felt a wave of unease wash over them at gatherings. Friends would invite them to events, but the thought of joining others made their stomach twist. They worried about what to say or how to act. This anxiety often kept them away from fun moments. Inside, Peter wanted to connect, to laugh, and to share stories, but fear held them back. Peter took a sip of coffee and closed their eyes for a moment. They remembered the last birthday party they attended. Everyone was chatting, swapping stories, and enjoying delicious cake. But Peter felt trapped, standing against the wall. They wanted to join the fun but did not know how to start. Thoughts raced in their head. What if nobody talks to me? Or what if I say something foolish? These thoughts made Peter feel small and invisible. The fear of making a mistake kept them from trying. As Peter opened their eyes, they noticed people at the cafe connecting over simple things like smiles and greetings. A man was telling a funny story, and people laughed together. A woman shared a moment of kindness with the barista, spreading warmth with her words. Watching these interactions, Peter felt a mixture of sadness and hope. They wished to feel that comfort and connection too. It became clear to Peter that they needed to change things. They could not stay stuck in a cycle of fear. Taking a deep breath, Peter resolved to try more often. Maybe they could start small, practicing conversations one person at a time. The idea of starting with little steps made them feel lighter. Taking out their phone, Peter opened a note-taking app and wrote, "Talk to someone today." It became both a goal and a reminder that change was possible. Each small action could lead to something big. Days passed, and the thought of connecting became a motivating force for Peter. They attended a local book club that met at the same coffee shop. As the group gathered, Peter's heart raced with excitement and anxiety. The thought of starting a conversation filled them with both fear and a flicker of hope. Sitting in a circle with others, the warmth of shared interests eased their worries. Each person took turns talking about their favorite books. But when it was Peter's turn, their mouth felt dry. Instead of shrinking back, Peter remembered that everyone else faced some uncertainty too, just like at the last party. With a deep breath, they spoke up. "I love mysteries. Last week, I read a book called The Silent Patient. It's very interesting." To their surprise, others nodded, sharing their thoughts on the book. This simple exchange began the first step toward breaking down the wall that fear had built around them. Each week, Peter practiced talking a little more, learning to listen and making new friends. These moments reminded them that struggles were natural, and each encounter held a chance to grow. Slowly, Peter started to understand that building these connections was not just about speaking but also about being open to others. They found hope in each interaction, knowing that they could improve their social skills one step at a time. This new path set Peter on a journey toward deeper connections and a more fulfilling life. As Peter continued attending the book club, they hoped to become more social. Each week brought new possibilities to connect with others. However, there were still challenges. One Wednesday, the conversation turned to a topic that Peter felt quiet about: public speaking. Several members began sharing their experiences, talking about nerves and mistakes while speaking in front of others. They laughed and supported one another, but Peter felt a tightness in their chest. The thought of sharing their own experience made them feel anxious. When it was Peter's turn to speak, their mind went blank. They couldn't find the right words. I've never, really spoken in front of a crowd." Their voice felt small. They wished they could just disappear. The awkward silence felt like a weight, making Peter's face heat up. Members nodded in understanding, but Peter could see the pity in their eyes. After sharing their answer, the moment passed, but the embarrassment lingered. This moment made Peter doubt themselves. They left the book club that day feeling frustrated. "Why is this so hard for me?" they thought. Each time they tried to engage, it seemed like they were still falling short. The fear became thicker, making it harder to connect with others. They began to overthink every interaction. What if they stumbled over their words again? What if people no longer wanted to include them? At work, Peter faced another hurdle. A team meeting was coming up, and everyone was asked to present a quick update. Each colleague seemed confident, ready to share. As Peter watched their coworkers speak with ease, they felt their heart race again. The room buzzed with ideas and excitement, but Peter felt trapped in their own bubble of fear. They sat quietly, afraid to speak up. Everyone shared their projects, and Peter nodded along, wishing they could find comfort in opening their mouth. After the meeting, a coworker approached Peter. "Hey, I noticed you didn't say much. Is everything okay?" they asked kindly. Peter forced a smile and replied, "I'm fine, just thinking." But inside, they felt like a fraud. The feeling of wanting to connect mixed with fear made every social situation seem like climbing a mountain. Peter realized it was not just about the book club or work. It was a pattern of fear that was invading their life. In moments alone, Peter would replay things in their mind. "I should have said more," they thought. "Why can't I be like them?" This self-doubt weighed down their spirit. Friends reached out to plan outings, but Peter hesitated, always ready with another excuse. Perhaps it was easier to avoid awkward moments. This realization hit hard. Was their wish to connect strong enough to push through these barriers? Weeks passed, and Peter noticed they were returning to their old habits. When invited out, they would want to say yes but found a way to excuse themselves. Anxiety was powerful, kept them from engaging in fun activities. They craved close friends but felt stuck in a place of isolation. A thudding fear wrapped around perhaps a fear of failing once more. Some moments felt hopeful, but they often faded into worry. As tension grew, Peter knew they needed to confront these obstacles. A nagging voice in their heart urged them to try again. Could it be possible to challenge this fear of connection? What if breaking free was a step they needed to take? With this question lingering in their mind, Peter prepared to push against these struggles. However, the journey ahead felt daunting. But in facing that challenge, they would also find a way to grow and truly connect. One evening, Peter's heart raced as they prepared to attend a local community event. This gathering was supposed to be fun, but a wave of anxiety washed over them. It was a chance to practice their social skills, yet all they could think about was the fear of failure. Just as they were about to back out, a friend called. "I will be there, Peter. You should come too. You can do this." Hearing their friend's encouragement pushed Peter to take a deep breath and agree. At the event, the lively atmosphere was filled with laughter and chatter. Tables were lined with snacks, and music filled the air. Peter walked in, their heart pounding louder with each step. As they stood near the entrance, people mingled around them. Just then, they spotted a familiar face, Mrs. Thompson, a kind neighbor and retired teacher. She was known for her warm smile and wise words. Peter remembered how she once told them, "You will never know how great you can be unless you try." With strength from her memory, Peter approached Mrs. Thompson. The moment felt monumental, yet nerves kicked in. "Hi, Mrs. Thompson," Peter managed to say, their voice shaking slightly. Mrs. Thompson's face lit up. "Peter, it's wonderful to see you here. How have you been?" As they talked, Peter felt warm encouragement from her. However, when Peter tried to share something about their interests, their words stumbled over feelings of fear. It was during this conversation that Peter felt the weight of their struggle. They had shared fun times but had not spoken openly about how challenging it had been to connect. Suddenly, a loud argument nearby made everyone turn their heads. A couple argued, and the tension in the room grew thick. Peter felt a tightening in their chest. As many turned away from the conflict, Peter saw an opportunity to speak up. Maybe they just need someone to listen, they thought, but doubt rushed back in. Mrs. Thompson noticed Peter's turmoil. "It's okay to feel worried," she said gently. "But you know, sometimes the best thing we can do is face our fears. You could help if you wanted to." Her words sparked something inside Peter. They realized that avoiding discomfort was not a path they wanted to stay on. Feeling a swell of courage, they found themselves stepping forward, closer to the couple. "Excuse me," Peter said, their voice strong despite the lingering tremble. "I know this is difficult. Would you like to talk about it?" Surprised, the couple paused and looked at Peter in a moment of silence. They were still steeped in emotion, and for a brief second, the conflict seemed to fade. Peter's attempt shocked even them, but they held their ground, heart racing. This moment became a turning point in Peter's journey. Stepping out of their comfort zone revealed a crack in the wall of fear that had loomed over them. Engaging with the couple and witnessing their struggle illuminated a guiding truth. Heeding Mrs. Thompson's wisdom, Peter suddenly understood that change must begin with action. Empathy was about stepping in even when fear knocks. Could they truly become the person who stepped bravely forward to help others? As the couple opened up, Peter felt the power of connection begin to flow through them. They no longer felt like a silent observer. Instead, they became part of a conversation, ready to share and listen. In a magnificent shift, Peter committed to changing their approach to social situations, embracing the courage to connect at deeper levels. This revelation marked the beginning of something great, a fresh start in Peter's journey of growth. With a new sense of determination, Peter felt a spark of hope. Instead of retreating back into their shell, they decided it was time to practice the social skills they had dreamed about. The next day at work, Peter saw an opportunity to take immediate action. The company had a team lunch planned, and everyone chatted excitedly about their favorite places to eat. This was a perfect setting for Peter to step forward and try new things, even if it felt a bit scary. As the group gathered around the table, Peter took a deep breath. With their heart beating loudly, they asked their colleague Maria, "What do you like to eat?" Peter watched her face light up. "I love tacos," Maria replied, her eyes shining. Encouraged by her enthusiasm, Peter smiled and nodded. "Tacos are great. I had some last week." This small exchange felt like a huge win. It was a simple question, but it marked the start of Peter's new journey. After some quick chats, the group shared stories about their weekends. Peter listened more than they spoke, focusing on their colleagues' words. They nodded and maintained eye contact, something that had always felt hard. Each time Peter did this, it felt more comfortable. They noticed how much it meant to the person speaking. Maria smiled wider as Peter heard her stories. The warmth in the room grew as laughter filled the air. As they listened, Peter realized that sharing stories did not always need to be complicated. Simple, genuine interest connected them. During lunch, someone joked about a work mishap, and everyone burst into laughter. Peter joined in stronger this time. They felt the joy in laughing together, feel closer to their colleagues. It was as if the walls that had held Peter back started to crumble little by little. Later in the week, Peter encountered another chance for practice. They entered the coffee shop again, where they first met Mrs. Thompson. Today, the barista, Jamie, looked busy but approachable. Peter thought of how Mrs. Thompson encouraged them. With a smile, Peter stepped up to the counter to order. They asked Jamie about the new drink on the menu. "I'm curious about the matcha latte. Is it good?" Jamie looked delighted to share. "Yes, it's very creamy and nice. I love it." The exchange was light but meaningful. Peter listened closely, showing genuine interest, and for a moment, it felt like they were sharing a secret. "I'll try it then. Thanks," Peter replied, feeling a rush of confidence. Every little conversation became a victory. They made a point to greet people with warmth, to ask questions, and pay attention to responses. With this new focus, each effort melted some of the tension they once felt in social settings. Peter's heart swelled as they realized how many chances existed every day. The more they interacted, the more comfortable they became. As the week continued, Peter recalled how each small action fueled their growth. They spoke to coworkers about weekend plans and practiced active listening, building connections little by little. It was not just chance encounters. It became a habit of caring and intent in each interaction. In this way, Peter began to see that change didn't rely solely on big moments but was built on everyday actions. With each successful conversation, Peter felt a greater sense of belonging. They committed to keep moving forward, focusing on small steps that led toward larger connections. A wave of hope washed over Peter. The journey was just beginning, and they were ready to embrace the progress with confidence and joy. As the days passed, Peter embraced the new social skills they had begun to develop. Each day felt like an adventure filled with chances to connect and share. At work, Peter continued to initiate small talks with colleagues. It began simply with greetings and questions about their weekends. "How was your time off?" Peter would ask. As the responses came, conversations flourished. Peter noticed that people appreciated being asked about their lives. Each interaction felt lighter and created a bonding moment. One sunny afternoon, during lunch break, Peter sat outside with Maria and a few other coworkers. They chatted about their favorite TV shows. As the laughter grew, Peter felt a comfort they had never known before. "I really enjoyed that show, too. The characters are so funny." Peter joined in with excitement. Sharing opinions no longer felt difficult. It felt enjoyable. Each smile and shared laugh deepened their sense of belonging. After work, when Peter entered the cafe, they greeted Jamie with a bright hello. A cup of familiar matcha latte in hand, Peter felt proud of these new habits. A few days later, when Jamie was busy serving customers, Peter decided to step in. They helped a shy newcomer by explaining the menu options. "Don't be nervous. The coffee here is great. I love the matcha." Peter's confidence began to shine even brighter then. That small act of helping lifted not only the newcomer's spirit, but Peter's as well. During this time, Peter took moments each evening to reflect. They wrote down feelings and experiences in a little journal. "I spoke to 10 people today," they noted one evening, feeling a sense of achievement. Reflecting on their progress helped solidify the changes inside. The once nervous feelings reshaped into excitement each time they reached out. Peter saw the change in relationships, too. No longer just comfortable coworkers. These people had become companions in laughter and support. Reflecting on these improvements filled Peter with hope. They recalled just a month ago when making small talk felt challenging and scary. The barrier in social situations began to feel like nothing more than a gentle breeze. an old fear that could now be brushed aside. Peter understood now that this growth was more than just improvement. It was transformation. They were gaining real friends as conversations felt more enjoyable and honest. With every connection Peter made, they felt their confidence swell. Speaking with a stranger in the coffee shop felt as easy as talking with friends. The positive energy around them began to attract other people too. New friendships blossomed everywhere. Word spread about Peter's friendliness, and coworkers would choose to engage with them willingly. Just days before, what had felt impossible became a bright reality filled with warmth. Every practice led to a personal belief that they could do this. Peter realized they had the power to shape their interactions. When they challenged themselves, they thrived. No longer did social situations seem overwhelming. Change, once feared, now erupted into excitement. Peter knew the path ahead was promising, filled with people who shared joy in conversation as they stepped further into openness. With hopeful eyes, Peter prepared for the challenges ahead, knowing every moment created room for growth. No matter what arose, they kept moving forward, certain they had the tools to connect. This newfound journey excited them. They felt as though they were not just part of a world, but an essential piece that contributed to it. As Peter grew more confident in their social skills, they started to notice challenges in the workplace that they once ignored. Their boss, Mr. Thompson, often made comments that felt dismissive and rude. At first, Peter accepted this behavior, thinking they just had to deal with it. However, now that they felt stronger, they decided not to accept this negativity anymore. They realized that building good relationships also meant setting boundaries. One afternoon, while in a team meeting, Mr. Thompson made a sarcastic joke about one of the projects. "I don't know why people can't get this right," he laughed, looking directly at Peter and others. Peter noticed several coworkers cringe at the remark. In that moment, something inside Peter shifted. Instead of staying quiet, they felt an urge to speak up. "Mr. Thompson, I think it's important to support each other when things get tough," Peter said, a little shakily but firmly. The room fell quiet. Some colleagues looked surprised while others nodded in agreement. Peter's heart raced, but they felt proud for standing up. No one expected them to speak. Mr. Thompson's face turned stern. "You don't understand how this business works, Peter. Criticism is just part of the job," he snapped back. Hearing that, Peter realized this was not just about their feelings. It was about changing the toxic atmosphere at work. Others around the room began to shift in their seats, looking from Peter to Mr. Thompson. After the meeting, Maria approached Peter with a smile. "You did great. I'm proud of you," she said warmly. Knowing someone supported them made Peter feel lighter. They didn't expect everyone to agree, but the positive response from some coworkers gave them hope. That evening, Peter reflected on the importance of standing firm against the toxic behavior they used to tolerate. In the following week, Peter noticed more issues. A new assistant was being bullied by another coworker in quiet corners of the office. The constant remarks and laughter at her expense found their way to Peter's ears. Once again, Peter felt the urge to act. They remembered how powerful they could be when protecting others, just like they had stood up for themselves. Gathering courage, Peter decided to speak with the assistant after witnessing her distress. "Hey, I want you to know that you're doing a great job. Don't let anyone bring you down," Peter said gently. The assistant looked surprised but relieved. "Thank you, Peter. I needed that," she replied with tears in her eyes. A bond started to form between them, showing mutual understanding. Feeling inspired by their own courage, Peter went to Mr. Thompson the next day. "I think it's essential for everyone to feel safe at work," they said directly. "We need to support our team, not put each other down." This time, Peter felt more strength flow through them. Even in the face of resistance, they kept their stance solid. Even though Mr. Thompson only grunted in reply, Peter saw nods from others in the room that echoed support. Colleagues started to gossip positively about the change in Peter. Several agreed that work needed to change for the better. A few even said that they felt inspired by Peter's actions. This shift in Peter's behavior affected not just themselves but also their environment. As they set these boundaries, it encouraged others to reflect on the atmosphere they operated within. Little by little, they saw changes. The conversation started moving away from fear and moved into more supportive talk. Peter's actions created a ripple effect, empowering others to challenge what was wrong. Consequently, Peter felt that standing up was not just a personal win but a critical move to shape a healthier workplace. They understood that learning to set boundaries balanced their newfound courage with a responsibility to support those around them. Each step forward strengthened Peter's belief in their power to influence positive change, both for themselves and for others. This was not just about one person. This was about a community ready to support each other. In the days that followed, Peter felt different. Their new bravery had changed the atmosphere at work, and they were feeling empowered. After standing up for the assistant, it seemed that others also began to join the cause. They shared kind words and supported one another. The air felt lighter, and for the first time in a long while, Peter sensed a unity in the team. One Friday, Peter was assigned to lead an important project. This task felt like the perfect opportunity to shine. Peter gathered input from coworkers and welcomed their ideas. Everyone shared fun thoughts, and for a moment, joy filled the room. Collaboration has a magical quality. It let them all feel brave together. But deep down, Peter was still nervous. What if something went wrong? Doubts crept back into their mind. Yet, they reminded themselves about the power of support. They had enjoyed a positive shift. They could do this. As the project meeting began, Peter stood at the front, ready to present. They spoke clearly, sharing everyone's ideas with pride. Slowly, the team leaned in, excited to hear what they had created together. When they finished, a wave of applause erupted. It surprised Peter, but in that moment, the joy and accomplishment surged through them. A colleague named Sarah stood up first, expressing how well the project was coming together. Peter worked hard to make sure we all felt included, she said, smiling brightly. In that moment of recognition, Peter realized something significant. It was not just about completing a task. It was about teamwork and mutual respect. Everyone's input mattered, and they had created a safe space to share. Hearing the appreciation of others filled Peter with warmth. They felt pride swell in their heart, knowing their efforts were making a difference. This simple win solidified all the personal growth they had achieved over time. Feeling uplifted, Peter knew that this experience was a blessing. They learned the value of working together, listening, and speaking up for themselves and others. Even when challenges arose, they noticed how their newfound courage reshaped dynamics. They understood that it often takes small actions to create a ripple of positivity. Now was the time for Peter to reflect on how much they had grown. During the weekend, Peter sat with a journal and poured their thoughts onto the pages. Everything felt lighter, like a heavy weight was lifting off their shoulders. Each goal, each act of standing up, came together to create a beautiful path forward. "This is my new beginning," they wrote. Feeling a sense of peace and clarity, Peter planned to continue these efforts. They thought about how sharing positives every day could amplify the kind energy in the workplace. Their vision was to create a toolkit for others. Start by listening, they noted. Be brave and ask questions. Stand together. Celebrate every small win. Each step became a building block to a more positive environment. As Peter moved towards the resolution of their journey, they felt ready for anything. They had the tools to overcome negativity and embrace strengths. With courage at their side, they could inspire others to transform their mindset as well. The changes made were meaningful, and Peter knew this journey would continue. They were equipped with wisdom gained through challenges, which ignited hope for a brighter workplace. Keeping the focus on compassion and teamwork solidified their growth. Peter was excited, knowing they could lead by example, creating ripples of kindness wherever they went. This new path flourished with opportunity, and they rushed forward, ready for the future. As weeks passed, Peter's life began to take on a new light. The changes they had made rippled through every aspect of their existence. Each day felt brighter, filled with laughter and warmth as they engaged more with their colleagues. Peter no longer felt like an outsider. Instead, they became a valued part of the team. Their confidence blossomed, and peers often sought them out for advice. It felt empowering to be recognized for their contributions. Conversations flowed easily, and Peter noticed how their relationships deepened with each shared laugh, and each meaningful interaction. At work, Peter was seen as a leader, someone who encouraged others to speak up and share their ideas. The team respected their kindness and bravery. During meetings, Peter would ask others how they felt about certain projects, making everyone feel included. "What do you think, Sarah?" Peter asked during one meeting. Sarah smiled, appreciating the invitation to share. This simple action created a positive culture that everyone enjoyed being part of. They knew that teamwork fostered collaboration, and that began to shine through in new ideas and solutions. Outside of work, Peter's personal life also improved. They felt more connected to friends and family. Conversations with their parents turned easier, filled with deep discussions rather than surface-level chats. Dinner gatherings became moments of sharing stories and laughter, strengthening family bonds. Peter also made an effort to reach out to an old friend, inviting them for coffee. As they caught up, Peter felt the warmth of reconnecting, and that old friendship was revived. With each meaningful conversation, the skills Peter had practiced became a natural part of who they were. They found peace within themselves, knowing their efforts of standing up and being present were worthwhile. This comfort allowed them to approach any situation with newfound courage and grace. When walking into social events, rather than feeling nervous, a feeling of excitement washed over them. Peter had transformed from anxiety to empowerment. During a community event, they volunteered to lead a discussion group. Peter felt nerves bubble inside but embraced the challenge. They remembered their progress, taking a deep breath before starting. As they facilitated the group, they met people from different backgrounds, sharing stories and experiences. It became clear to Peter just how powerful connections could be when forged with honesty and respect. Reflecting on their journey, Peter saw how each goal achieved filled them with hope and self-belief. They wrote in their journal about their experiences, noting that social skills opened doors to deeper connections and genuine friendship. The pages filled with stories of success, gratitude, and excitement for what the future would bring. In this new chapter of their life, Peter felt equipped to face any challenges ahead. When encountering tough days, they reminded themselves of the strength they had built. They understood that learning and growing never stopped. Empowerment became a choice, and it was always within reach. Peter closed their journal with a smile, knowing that they held the power to shape not only their own journey, but also to inspire others around them. The courage to embrace life fully established a firm belief in one vital truth: connection was possible. They were ready for whatever lay ahead, illuminated on the path toward authentic relationships, happiness, and confidence. The journey was just beginning, and Peter felt eager to explore it. As Peter moved forward in their life, they began to embrace not just the present, but also the future with excitement and hope. Their new skills and confidence created a foundation for many possibilities. The improved relationships at work and home opened the door to fresh opportunities. Peter felt ready to take on these challenges, seeing each day as a chance to grow. The journey had taught them that change starts from within, and they were prepared to apply those lessons wherever they went. One day, while browsing job listings, Peter saw a position for a leadership role in another company. The description spoke about fostering teamwork and creativity. Instead of feeling doubt, Peter felt a surge of confidence. They realized it was the perfect time to push into new territories. Reflecting on all they had achieved so far, Peter knew they had the skills to lead effectively. They remembered how valuable teamwork was and how communication transformed their relationships. Taking a step forward, Peter decided to apply. Through the application process, Peter crafted their resume to highlight growth and confidence. They included experiences from their current job, emphasizing their ability to inspire and support coworkers. With every sentence, they felt pride swell inside. This was not just a list of skills. It was a testament to their journey. The positivity Peter had nurtured within themselves poured out onto the pages, ready to be presented to potential employers. In preparation for interviews, Peter gathered information on effective strategies. They practiced speaking calmly and clearly while focusing on listening actively to questions. Mock sessions with a supportive friend helped ease any lingering anxiety. They discussed answers but also focused on managing nerves. Peter learned to frame doubts as excitement instead. "I am ready for this," they would remind themselves, transforming fear into a sense of purpose. The day of the interview arrived, and instead of feeling overwhelmed, Peter took a deep breath and entered the room with confidence. They spoke passionately about what they could bring to the team, showcasing their journey and personal growth. Each response reflected not only their skills, but also their dedication to fostering an open and supportive workplace. While awaiting feedback, Peter knew success did not solely rest on this opportunity. As the days rolled by, they continued to engage positively with their current colleagues, forming bonds that enriched their daily experiences. They believed in building a community wherever they were, nurturing connections and creating support networks. This new perspective fueled their desire for collaboration, making every task feel pleasurable rather than burdensome. When the phone call came, Peter's heart raced with anticipation. The hiring manager praised their skills and approach, saying, "We believe you will make a positive impact here." Excitement bubbled within them. This opportunity was not just a job. It was a chance to implement everything they had learned. Reflecting on their journey, Peter realized how far they had come. From struggles and fears to confidence and happiness, they had reshaped their life narrative. They understood the importance of continual growth and pledged to share their experiences with others. Your voice matters, and you can create change despite challenges. They would share with anyone who needed encouragement. As Peter envisioned stepping into their new role, they felt empowered, ready to lead with compassion and understanding. This new chapter held the promise of further growth, both in themselves and in the team they would establish. Peter's journey now seemed to be just the beginning, filled with the richness of authentic connections and unwavering hopes. The exhilarating path forward promised adventures of transformation to explore and friendships to deepen. With renewed energy, Peter embraced the future, knowing that they had the power to navigate any challenge ahead.